My father never needed to shout. His disappointment was always quiet, controlled, heavier than anger. It sat across from me at dinner and followed me down the hallway. "You're too soft," he would say, not with cruelty, but with certainty. He had worked construction his entire life. Cold mornings, broken nails, concrete dust in his lungs. To him, strength was visible, loud, physical. I was different. I read books, I wrote ideas in notebooks, and that difference felt like failure in his eyes. When I told him I wanted to start my own design studio, he didn't laugh. He simply said, "Be realistic." Somehow that hurt more. At family gatherings, he introduced my brother with pride. "This one knows how to work." Then he would glance at me. "He's still figuring things out." Like I was unfinished, temporary, a risk. I moved out at 23 with one old laptop, a second-hand desk, and more doubt than confidence. But I had one thing he couldn't see: belief. The first year was brutal. Clients disappeared. Payments were late. I questioned myself every night. Bills stacked up like quiet accusations. And in every moment of failure, I heard his voice again. "Be realistic." But something inside me refused to quit. I studied, I practiced, I improved. Slowly, one client became two. Two became 5. I wasn't rich, I wasn't impressive, but I was stable, and for the first time, I felt strong in my own way. 3 years later, my mother called one winter evening. Her voice sounded smaller than usual. My father's construction company was in trouble. Contracts were lost. Systems were outdated. Paperwork was chaotic. They were falling behind. For the first time in his life, he was uncertain. A week later, he walked into my small office. He looked around at the framed projects, the organized desks, the quiet team working beside me. He didn't criticize. He just stood there. "We need help," he said finally. No pride, no excuses, just honesty. They needed branding, a website, digital systems, the very things he once called unnecessary. I could have reminded him of his words. I could have said, "Be realistic," but I didn't. Instead, I nodded. For 2 months I worked with his company. Late nights again, but different this time. Not to prove him wrong, to build something right. We modernized everything. Communication improved. Proposals became professional. New contracts started coming in. Slowly at first, then steadily. The company stabilized. Jobs were saved, including his. One evening after the work was done, he stayed behind in my office. He looked older than I remembered, not weaker, just human. "I didn't understand your world," he said quietly. "I thought if I couldn't see the strength, it wasn't there. Silence filled the room, heavy but softer than before. Then he said the words I never expected. I was wrong. For a man like him, that sentence cost everything. In that moment, I realized something. Some parents push because they are afraid. Afraid you'll fail. Afraid you'll struggle. Afraid they won't know how to help. But sometimes what looks like softness is simply a different kind of strength. That day, he didn't just ask for help. He saw me. Not as the unrealistic son, not as the weak one, but as a man who built something quietly and refused to quit. I didn't become richer that evening. I didn't suddenly become more successful. But I gained something far more important, his respect. And sometimes that is the only approval we've been working for all along.